Good morning. Hey, we've got rain in the northwest. Wow, it's been a while. Roads are kind of slick. I thought I'd take a moment. Heard something about being getting a broader view and in looking at who we are, how we are as people. And when it comes down to crimes, and when it comes down to who's the victim, who's the perpetrator, and they're looking at the penal system, or looking at the idea of the perpetrator, we'll say, call him that. Through a different lens, to understand that they have had their issues too. Not the immediate issue of whatever it is that made them commit a crime, but the immediate issue of the fact that they got rewired somehow in their childhood or in their upbringing. And that's what's always been needed. Okay? I can say from personal example, I can turn around and say there's a lot of horrific things, or a lot of things that have happened in my lifetime. Okay? And in that time, I can point out different instances where they were my fault. And I can definitely point out instances where they were someone else's fault. But ultimately, as a child really has no control over anything. And so that's the differentiating between the 18 and older mark, or being an adult, and a child under, right? But to understand back then, in the mind of somebody, you need to look at it. You really need to understand what made them tick, what set off this. If a kid is told, the line that I've always heard was, kid's been told that he's an asshole or she's a bitch all her life, excuse the language, they're going to have a rough go at it, especially if it was coming from the parents. Okay? That's just the reality of it. No different than how a bully is made. Its chances are that it was the father or the mother who was a bully to them. It isn't that it isn't on the head of the kid or whatever that was being submissive. Let's say it that way. And so, always. So, you got to take that in mind. And this goes across the board, from people that are robbers, to people that are abusive, to people that are sexually abusive. Especially sexually abusive. There was something in their upbringing and in their psyche that changed things. And when it changed things drastically for them. Relationship-wise, understanding what a relationship is. And so, and the dynamics thereof. So, and I say this because this is something that we've needed to do for probably thousands of years. Got to remember, the penal system of turning around and incarcerating, or I remember living in Spain, we were shown the wall next to a shoreline of the big breach wall, the big castle wall or something like that, and there was chains down towards the bottom. And what was that for? Well, that was for people who committed crimes. They'd put them out there and let the tide come in and get them. You know, those are the kind of things that I'm talking about. the penal system is necessary, but long overdue for for fixing, and not in the same sense that our new administration thinks. They can't even handle detaining somebody properly. I wouldn't put them in charge of, being able to understand this. It's just, it seems like it's beyond them. But that's a whole different subject. So, yeah. I just wanted to throw that out there. Nothing but love. We're becoming more human. We're understanding what it is to be human. And that is so, so cool. To understand that is probably the best thing that we could possibly do for humanity, for our children's sake. And as always, I wish you nothing but love. Have a great day.